Fasten your seatbelt. It's the 30-second Take podcast, where two people face off in a digital duel. The podcast begins in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, we are back. It's episode 7 of the 30-second Take podcast. This is going to be good. How good? Well, John Fritzke good. John Fritzke's back. He's returning as a guest host. I'm going to introduce you to his challenger. Our new guest host is Principal Mark French. This is Mark. It looks like he's been experimenting with the TouchCast app. Here's a better picture of Mark. Mark is also the president-elect of the Minnesota Elementary Principals Association. Thing I admire about Mark, he is a learner. He exemplifies what a growth mindset looks like and is. And that fits nicely for this week's guiding question. More on that later. I want to reintroduce you to John Fritzke. This is John. I recently learned that John is currently the vice principal at the school he attended as a student. I think that's the coolest thing. John also confided in me, and now I'm sharing with you. He loves to golf. He's a terrible golfer. So John, because he did so well last week, I'm just going to give you a little tip for your golf game. You take your golf ball and never hit a tee shot without one of these, John, okay? A life preserver for your ball. Ever since I started playing golf with this, I've taken like 10 strokes off my game. I'm not afraid of the water anymore, John. All right, enough about that. Let's get serious, down to business. How do we cultivate a growth mindset? That's a question. Sorry, I'm back. Mark and John are going to tackle it, and then we need to hear from you. We need to hear from you, people, at the hashtag 30-second take. All right, let's dive into this digital duel.
Welcome to our digital duel. Cast your vote for the most compelling response. The winner returns next week to defend the title.
Here's how I cultivate a growth mindset. Number 1, take risks. This summer, I learned about TouchCast to produce school videos. My first mistake was I looked like a severed head on a plate, but I learned from that mistake and kept going. Number 2, role model for others. I gave my staff members the book Teach Like a Pirate. I had to read it myself, and I have become a pirate convert. 3, keep learning.
So we're talking growth mindset, and I think that there are 3 things that we need to do to encourage a growth mindset in our schools. And the first is to acknowledge strengths of the educators in our building. Just because we're asking them to grow and stretch doesn't mean that what they did before was bad. Our teachers have so many talents that we need to acknowledge and build upon. The second is that we need to make the first step manageable when we're asking them to grow. I think that it's scary to step outside of your comfort zone, and if that first step isn't a concrete one that's manageable, it's tremendously scary. The third is to model. I believe as a leader in a building, it is important to model that not only am I asking others to grow and change, but I'm willing to do it myself.
4! No, I'm kidding. You actually crushed it. That's like long drive, hole in one, all in one, John. And Principal French, Mark, I serve at the honor of the president. You nailed it too. Proud to work alongside you. The hardest part now, I think, is actually our job. We get to provide some feedback and actually vote to determine which guest host moves forward next week. I just want to say the guys nailed it. So go on to hashtag 30-second take on Twitter. You can hit me up on Voxer, send me a direct message. However you engage in that conversation, voting is cool. Can't wait to learn with you and from you based on your feedback. Don't forget to follow these guys on Twitter as well. Mark is at Principal French and John is at John Fritzke. I think it's time for that robot arm thing. Take it away, Robo Arm.